we got something new today. So the Battlefield 6.1 aim calculator, but new and improved. Pretty much gonna go through this today, and then also something else that's brand new is the controller calculator. I did this because a lot of my viewers actually were requesting some controller optimizations as well. So since everyone was struggling on this game, I thought why not? So we're gonna start with the 1-to-1 aim calculator. So it's pretty straightforward. You got the custom zoom sense that match for ADS sensitivity with hipfire. So you just simply enter your FOV. So I play on 111. So field of view would be 111. Infantry zoom aim sensitivity would be 100. I have all this off for the ADS sense. And then for the uniform aiming, 1.78 to uniform off aiming off conversion. This is actually the opposite of 120 aim. So this actually doesn't match with your hipfire. This is more the traditional ADS, with similar to like Call of Duty on default 1.0 ADS. What I actually use is this vertical aim calculator combined with this 120 aim sensitivity calculator. And how that works is, so we have the vertical aim sensitivity. By default in the game, it's 100. Unfortunately, that doesn't actually match the vertical and horizontal like I want. So it's not that it's wrong, it's just that's how the game's intended and designed. I just realized setting these two values to 80 makes it feel the same for horizontal and vertical. And I much prefer that. After testing this, it honestly felt like it was made for the game. Personally, if I demonstrate, so let's say I just use the default 100 and the default 100 for the mouse zoom aim ratio. So with uniform off, it's going to be fast on the vertical and not match with horizontal. You see that? It's just way too fast. So to combat that, what I did was set this to 80, the exact value you need to match it. So this one does it for the ADS, this one does it for your vertical sense, and this is with uniform off. So now that when you see me move up and down and left and right, it's the same. It's pretty neat. So this feels amazing when I'm playing. So you can see that's the same now. And let's say you play with uniform on. You play with uniform on, you actually don't get the option to change this, similar with the zoom transition sensitivity smoothing. So you're only able to change your hip fire vertical. So by default, that's fine for, it's fine for this to be grayed out because the engine actually does this for you and matches your ADS vertical sensitivity with your horizontal. So that's fine, but you're forced to use gradual here. And when you use vertical mouse aim ratio on 100, you'll see your hip fire is not calculated by the engine, and it'll end up being faster than your horizontal. Like, just, you can test this for yourself, it's noticeably faster. So if you also set that to 80, you can do the same thing with uniform on, except you're forced to use gradual instead of instant. That's about it. Now it's the same. That's just something I figured out. I did that for both controller and mouse and keyboard. So what I do is just play in uniform off, field of view 111, and I'm playing on 1-to-1 for everything else on all the custom zooms. And then let's quickly go into controller. So for controller, I actually play on 120 on controller. So for the vertical aim, I have it on 74. So it's actually different. The way I calculated this is, notice how it says vertical FOV here at 89 and horizontal FOV 120. Divide these two numbers, 89 divided by 120, you end up with 74. Now, if I go into the calculator, which I will go back into now, give me one sec. So now that I'm in the calculator, you'll see controller. There's a bunch of custom zooms as well. So this actually makes it where it's the opposite of one-to-one aim. So by default, the game does one-to-one aim. So this actually makes it where it's relatively closer to your zoom ADS and not your hipfire. So your sensitivity will be scaled towards your ADS or your optic zoom. So this is actually a lot better and similar to the ADS sensitivities in traditional Call of Duties. So that's something I was more comfortable with, and I did it for all optics. The curves, I used these ones. This one felt the most comfortable to me. Aim assist slowdown, you can probably adjust on your own. Same with the curves, it's not a big deal, it's just something I liked. Dead zones, preference as well. I just thought to include everything. I also included the default option without the vertical changes. I know this was default to 80, I'll probably update that after this. Other than that, this feels great too. I also mentioned the differences between uniform aim on versus off. So just make sure you just go through everything. So you'll see that you can actually match between the two identically, make it identical, but the only thing is you'd be forced to use zoom ADS transition gradual only on uniform aim on. So I hope I explained that as best as I could. There's also one more thing. So with the vertical aim calculator, this is the best part about the keyboard and mouse section. So if you feel like your sensitivity is a lot slower to make up for the match in vertical and horizontal, you can easily just enter in, let's say like my sensitivity is 11.3. Like my old sensitivity used to be 11.3. That's why it's 12.79 now. Because you don't realize how much you aim diagonally when you're playing. So the more you aim diagonally, the more you'll be affected by the change in perceiving sense difference. So I would first test with your original sensitivity and just change the vertical zoom and ratios. If you feel like it's too slow with the change, then just use this calculator to kind of adjust it. I just calculated using like a change within percentage, and then that should feel more natural. That's what I did personally. But I just wanted to see what's going on, so please just test with the original sensitivity. I hope I didn't leave anything out. There's pretty much a bunch of different calculators. You can just read everything. Try to make this UI as friendly as possible, close to the game. If you have any other questions. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention my graphics settings. So for my graphics settings, I'm actually using all the optimizations that I have on the platform. So Windows, network, NVIDIA, everything that's basically that I've provided publicly. And at the same time, I'm also using Frothy's config. So let me get that for you guys. Yeah, so the video I watched for Frothy's, I think, yeah, it was the Battlefield 6 Endgame. GitHub. I pretty much went got his config and just pretty much just got it from here. I mean, he has everything. You can literally check it out. It's pretty sick. Helped me with my computer and boosted my FPS. So to load that in, yeah, so pretty much everything from here is my config from his. Everything else I just changed up. I'm gonna probably put this in the Discord with my user.cfg. So if you're interested in that, just join the Discord. If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, that's pretty much it for today. I hope this helped as many people as possible. Other than that, thank you and have a good one. Peace out.
Stand by.